conversion. Thank you for that. So there's two things that will determine your level of success in real estate. Remember, success is simple. And if you're not hitting your goals, then there's only two conversations that you need to have. And those conversations are a lead generation conversation and lead conversion conversation. Lead generation conversation is, are you hitting your daily standards in order to move you closer to your goals? And if you're not hitting your standards and you're not hitting your goals, then simply hit your standards. In other words, 20 conversations, not 19, not 18, not 17, because it's close enough. It's 20. Now, when you get to a point where you are hitting your standards every day and you're still not hitting your goals, then we're going to have a lead conversion conversation. In other words, you're getting lots of leads, you have lots of opportunities, and yet you're still not getting the number of appointments you need or the number of agreements you need in order to hit your goals. So here's what Gary has to say. Top of page 83. First of all, I'm going to start out with a quote. Most people never run far enough on their first wind to find they've got a second. They never run far enough on their first wind to find they've got a second wind. Now, for any of you who played sports or you've trained athletically and you have done conditioning, let's just say running, and you run and run and run until you just feel like, oh my gosh, I can't go any further. If I run one more sprint, I'm going to pass out right here. Or I'm going to get sick. I don't want to send that visual out there, but that's what happens. If you played sports and you conditioned and you ran until you felt like you couldn't run anymore, take yourself off mute and talk to me.
Good morning, John.
Here we go, Vicki.
Great. Go ahead. I'm so sorry. I didn't want to interrupt someone.
Oh, we had two people there. Let's go with Vicki first. I'm not sure who.
Mine's short and sweet.
Okay.
No pain,
I'll go right after
no
Vicki.
gain. No pain, no gain. You got to put in the work.
Okay.
You got to put it in the work.
Okay. So Vicki, I'm going to ask you a couple questions. When you ran until you felt like you couldn't run any further and you kept going, because I'm assuming you did, yes?
Yes.
Okay. So you pushed through the pain and you kept going. What did you discover?
Oh, it was definitely something that, just like you said, I mean, you get to the point where you're like, you pass out. You're like pushed to that limit where you're dead or you throw up, which I know you didn't want to say.
Thank you for saying it for me.
Thank you. But the next time, you can get past that limit, that edge, and you push yourself and then you go, oh my God, I can do it.
Yeah. Yeah. You found your second wind.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. Jose.
Coming from a football background, playing football all my life, I understood the point of where I thought I was just gonna fall, but it's just a championship mentality, right? You push an extra yard, you push an extra foot, you keep going, and the next thing you know, you're 10 yards ahead, 20 yards ahead. And you're just there. So in terms of real estate or just business and purpose, you thought you could do everything you can until you make that extra call, that extra push. And next thing you know, you're 10 calls ahead from what you thought you were going to stop at. It's really just that.
Yeah, well done, young man. I'm proud of you. Very good. All right, so Gary goes on to say in the beginning of the second paragraph on page 83, I'm in shift for those of you who just joined us. On page 83, second paragraph, bottom of the page, if you do lead generation, but don't get a name and number, what good is it? And if you get a name and number, but can't get an appointment, what good are they? Aha. As important as lead generating activities are, if you can't get a name, number, and ultimately an appointment, what have you really accomplished? So say nothing. Doing lead generating activity is one thing. Getting an active lead from it is another. Without the ability to turn activities into leads and leads into appointments, any lead generating activities you do are futile. In other words, conversion matters. Now, take yourself off mute again. One person offer to give me one thing that you can do in order to improve your lead conversion.
Script practice.
Script practice. Thank you.
Listen more to the person you're speaking to.
Okay. Thank you, Lance.
Ask more questions.
Ask more questions. Nice job, Diane.
Continue to follow up.
Continue to follow up. Good job, Jonathan. How often should you practice your scripts?
Every freaking day.
Okay, every freaking day. Love that.
Amen.
Amen. How many hours equals mastery?
10,000.
10,000 hours. Now, for those of you who have a calculator in your hands, which is everybody, because we never go anywhere without our phone, and that phone of yours is also a calculator. Hold on a second, because I almost clicked on a button that made everybody leave. So there's your calculator. If you practice an hour a day for 250 days a year, how many years would it take you to get to 10,000 hours? Take 10,000 divided by 250. 40 years. So you're 40 years away from mastery if you practice an hour every single day. Now, for those of you who are going, oh my gosh, I'm never going to get there. So I'm going to change the way you look at things. Change the way you look at things, things you look at change. This is a paradigm shift, okay? When you are practicing and role-playing your scripts for an hour a day, and then you get on the phone and you have 3 hours of lead generation, that is also time invested in mastering your conversations of real estate. So now you're practicing those scripts for 4 hours a day. Now, 4 hours a day, working 250 days is 1,000 hours a year. I'm pretty sure I'm right on that, which means you're 10 years away from mastery. Now, this is a number that I've tracked, and I've tracked it since I started selling real estate back in 2002, coming up on 20 years. I've got 17,000 plus hours invested in practicing and role-playing my scripts. And we move from unconscious, draw 4 boxes on your in your taking notes. So top left box, unconscious incompetence. This is the path to mastery. Unconscious incompetence is I don't know what I don't know, and I don't know that I don't know it. It's a pretty dangerous spot to be. By the way, there's a lot of real estate agents who never leave that box. There's a lot of people who never leave that box. Oh, I know everything there is to know. No, you don't. Not only don't you know everything there is to know, you don't know that you don't know everything there is to know. If you remember the TV show Lost in Space, danger, Will Robinson, danger.
Thunder.
Okay, so we move from unconscious incompetence to conscious incompetence. That's growth. It's progress. Think progress. Page 71 of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, the 9 ways that a millionaire real estate agent thinks. One of those ways is progress. So we're moving from unconscious incompetence to conscious incompetence, which means I don't know what I don't know, and I know that I don't know what I don't need to know, and I need to learn what I need to know in order to be successful. Okay, wow, don't ask me to say that again. Now we move from conscious incompetence to conscious competence. And that's where we start to learn the conversations of real estate that are going to get us to our goals. The final stage is unconscious competence. That's when you've internalized the information at a point where you can't get it wrong. Mastery is not doing something right. Mastery is getting to a point where you can't get it wrong. And your goal in this lead conversion conversation is to get to mastery. Yes or yes, right? Okay, so we're all on a path to master the conversations of real estate because we're all on a path to become millionaire real estate agents, earning $1 million a year selling real estate. Bottom of the page, doing lead generating activity is one thing, getting an active lead from it is another. Without the ability to turn activities into leads and leads into appointments, any lead generating activities you do are futile. In other words, conversion matters. It seriously matters. And maybe more than you ever realized. Now, page 84. In a shifting market, and now remember, a shifting market doesn't just mean we're moving from a seller's market to a buyer's market, because that's a shift. But a shifting market also means that we're moving from a market where there's lots of listing inventory to fewer people are listing their homes, which, by the way, that's the market we've been in for a while. That's a shift. A shifting market also means, as a real estate agent, there are fewer homes being sold. There's still a lack of inventory, but there are fewer homes being sold, and there's still the same number of agents who are competing for those sales. That's also a shifting market. We've been in that market for more than a year. Now, if you're going to get your unfair share, then you need to double down on lead conversion, double down on lead generation. In a shifting market, it matters the most because, quite frankly, what you need more than anything else are appointments with motivated buyers and sellers right now. The essential truth is that your success in a shifting market will hinge entirely on your ability to convert leads. So one of the things you should be doing every day, this is a homework assignment, is make a list of questions that you could ask in a seller conversation or a buyer conversation in order to keep the person you're speaking to on the phone. When you run out of questions, you lose. Play this like a game. And the game is, I never want to run out of questions. The conversation either ends with me getting an appointment or the person I'm speaking to ending the conversation. But I'm not going to run out of questions. So make a list of questions that you could ask that is going to keep the conversation going. Right, 10 questions a day. And never stop. By the way, the harder you work on this, the better the questions are going to get. The first 10 questions are going to be easy. Probably the first 20, maybe the first 30. And after that, you're going to have to dig deep. And that's where you're going to find the really good questions. All right. The ultimate success of your lead generating is directly dependent on your lead conversion ability. One can't work without the other. Yet, many agents spend significant amounts of time and money on their lead production proficiency, but then neglect their conversion competence. So in working with real estate agents and coaching real estate agents and working with mega agents who have a team, and they spend, Brian, I'm coming right to you in just a moment, and they spend money on leads. One of the things that I'll hear is, I'm spending lots of money on leads. Now, lots of money is all relative. So what's a lot of money to one person is not to another. But I know real estate agents who are spending $2,000 to $3,000 a month on leads. And I know real estate agents who are spending $10,000 to $20,000 a month on leads. Wow. And then they'll say, John, but my agents are not converting the leads, or all I'm getting is lousy leads. And remember, there's no such thing as a bad lead. There's just real estate agents who can't convert them or don't follow up. So remember what I just shared with you, and I'm going to read to you what Gary Keller said again. Listen closely. Many agents spend significant amounts of time and money on their lead production proficiency, but then neglect their conversion competence. If these same agents that are having these conversations with me would spend as much energy on practicing and role-playing the conversations of real estate with their team as they do generating the leads, would their lead conversion improve?
Yes.
Yeah, of course it would. It would have to. Guys, it's like a professional football team spending $50 million on getting the best players on their team and never practicing. Well, we spent millions and millions and millions of dollars to get all these great players on our team, and we can't figure out why we're not winning. Well, talk to me about your practice. Well, we don't practice. Well, there's why you're not winning. It's just that simple. Now, if they get it, why don't we get it? And how do I know you don't? Well, I've been doing this a while. Brian, talk to me.
Thank you, John. Good morning. May
morning.
you please explain a little further the questions, the 10 questions a day?
Yeah. So if you sold your home, where would you move to? What's important to you about moving to blank? How long have you lived in your home? When you bought your home, you paid how much money for your home? Based on the fact that you've lived in your home for 10 years, how much equity do you believe you have in your home? If you knew your home was worth more today than it would be in the next 5 years, what would you do? If you found out that if you knew that the market was going to shift, if we had a crystal ball, and we don't, but if we had a crystal ball and we knew the market was going to shift and your home was going to be worth less than it is today, it's going to be worth less a year from now, or maybe 2 years from now, what would you do? Those are just a few examples, Brian. Okay. If interest rates were to go up, is your home more affordable or less affordable? If interest rates went up by just 1%, how would that affect the affordability of your home? If you were to buy a home, where would your next home be? What does it look like? What's important to you about that? Are you living in your dream home right now? If you're not living in your dream home right now, what does your dream home look like? When would you like to move there? Why is that important to you? If you could live anywhere in the United States other than where you live today, just for fun, where would you live? If you were to buy an investment property, let's say you're going to buy an Airbnb and you're going to use it as a vacation home for you and your family 1 month out of the year, and the other 11 months it's making money for you. Where would it be? Why is that important to you? What does it look like? Brian, you get the idea?
I get the idea, and I'm thankful this is recorded. John, this is questions you asked during the pre-qual or during the initial phone call?
All of the above. Could be at dinner with a friend.
Got it. Thank
Could
you.
be walking down the street and talking to one of your neighbors. Could be somebody you met in line at Starbucks.
Thank you.
Yep, my pleasure. All right, Gary goes on to say the effort you give to converting leads must match. Oh boy, this is what I said just a few minutes ago. Listen carefully. The effort you give to converting leads must match the effort you give to generating them. And I just told you a moment ago, there are mega agents closing $30, $40, $50 million a year who are spending enormous amounts of money, time, and effort on generating leads, and they spend zero on converting them. We choose success. We also choose failure. Now, why would anybody choose failure? And yet they do every day. I'm going to answer that question, by the way. Failure is comfortable. I choose to take care of myself physically, to be in shape, to be healthy, or I choose to be overweight, out of shape, on and on and on and on. Why would I choose that? Well, it's comfortable. It's comfortable to sit on the couch and eat ice cream. It's not only comfortable, I like it. It's comfortable to sleep in. It's not comfortable to get up and go exercise. It's a choice. All right. They look at their number of appointments and assume their lead generation isn't working. The bigger truth, in other words, they're not getting the number of appointments they want, and they're blaming lead generation. The bigger truth might be that their lead conversion isn't working. So one of the questions that I'm going to ask when I'm coaching a real estate agent is, do we need to have a lead generation conversation, or do we need to have a lead conversion conversation? Why? Convince me. Okay, take yourself off mute. Talk to me. If you're in the room, you don't have to take yourself off mute. There's not a mute button on you. Just talk.
Hey,
to me.
John.
Talk. Yes.
Hey, John. I'm finding actually with my own business, when, just listening to what you're saying, lead conversion versus lead generation, I definitely feel that my lead conversion may be weaker than my lead generation, because I have no problem calling. I have no problem, getting the leads. The conversion, there's two steps to conversion. Conversion is call to appointment. And then the next conversion is appointment to listing agreement or buyer's agreement.
I'm out.
So
I'm
yes.
out. Time out. Write that down. Write that down. Because she's absolutely right. We're having two different conversations when we're talking about conversion. Are you converting conversations to appointments? And are you converting those appointments to agreements? All right, Diane, keep going.
So when I think about my own business, as I was mentioning, I think that I'm definitely having trouble with some of that, but that's why I have a productivity coach who helps me through the leads or some of those conversions. And then he gives me ideas on how to, move forward. I'm finding that my hottest leads are still coming from my golden goose. It's almost like it's handed to me on a silver platter. But the leads that I'm generating on my own for my old expireds and the ones that I'm just doing the cold calling, I'm having more trouble with, and that's where I need help.
Yeah, well, that's normal, by the way, because the highest conversion rates from an appointment to an agreement or from a conversation to an appointment are going to be with referrals. Because I'm simply going to call you and say, hey, Diane, it's John Dietz. Jonathan King thought it would be a great idea for you and I to talk. And you're going to go, yeah, Jonathan told me you're awesome. He told me you're the agent for the job. My response to that is not, yeah, I'm amazing, blah, blah, blah. No. It's, I really appreciate that. And our next step is to schedule time to get together. Now I'm looking at my calendar, blah, blah, blah. This is a come list me almost. Your conversion rates on those should be high. And by the way, it's time on task over time equals mastery. I would tell you, Diane, you are right where you should be when it comes to conversion based on your path.
That's good to hear.
It doesn't mean you can't get better, and it doesn't mean you shouldn't continue to get better. I'm just telling you, I think you're doing amazing. I think you're right where you should be based on your path.
Well, I appreciate that, but I must admit, and I'm sure everybody, I'm going to just put myself out there. I'm not having the 20 conversations a day. And so I'm still working on my noise that stops me from doing that, but I'm determined to do it. And some days I can, and some days I just can't even get to one. So that I know, but I know based on when I have had those conversations, they turn into I have not met into I'm going to meet you or I'm going to get somewhere. That's why I know it's a slow and steady process.
It is. And hit those standards, okay? That's a lead generation conversation. Hit those standards.
Yep.
All right, I want to hear from somebody in the room. We have people in here. Everybody on Zoom thinks I'm talking to a room full of people that doesn't exist because you guys aren't saying anything. So I do that, by the way, but I'm not today. There's actually really people in the room. Really? You guys have nothing to say? You're gonna make me look bad. Yes.
I need to get to the point where when they tell me why should I hire you, and I'm gonna tell them I'm an expert in the market, I don't feel I'm an expert yet. I just need to get to that where I can confidently say I'm an expert and not feel like.
I swear, somebody tells the leaf blowers, go by that training room and yeah, whatever. Please just talk louder. Let's ignore that. It's noise, right? That's.
I don't want to be the person that says, oh, I'm gonna wait till I get more training, or I'm gonna wait till I get more experience, but that's what I feel right now, that I, you know what I mean? Or we can tell the customer, or try to convince the customer that I am an expert in that. In that market.
Yeah. Jonathan has an answer for you. I saw his hand go up.
Yeah, so as soon as you get your real estate license, you already have more knowledge than the average person. And then just being in here every single day, you're already learning more than most of the agents that are out. So
Good answer.
get that in your head that you are the expert already. And any questions that come up, people will answer them for you this office. It will help you out.
Second that. I've sat down with people, I've had conversations with people that where I was in the middle, I'm still pretty new to the business, but I've sat down with people who've done business with me. Not that I try to act like I know the answers to everything, but that I'm willing to find out. I've created partnerships with people that have said, you know, you don't know everything, but you're willing to find out, which people will find that attractive as well. So using your conversation with people as learning experience. Not that you have to know everything, but you can simply just say, you know, I'm not 100% sure, and I don't want to give you false information, but I can find that, and I can give that to you. People will respect that a lot. Then you trying to come up with something. So you don't have to know everything, but you know enough.
Good answers, guys. You don't have to be great to start, but you do have to start in order to be great. Okay. And thank you for being transparent. I really do appreciate that. And you'll get there. We're all on a journey, thank you, of getting better every day in every way, right? Yeah, tomorrow you're going to be better than you are today, I promise. The next day you're going to be better than you are tomorrow. Hi.
I wasn't sure what topic we were on, sorry.
It's okay.
So I'm on a phase of stuck phase. I went through the discouragement phase of not knowing what to do. And what I did was I faked it till I made it. And I failed and I succeeded after. In order to succeed, you have to fail. You have to make mistakes in order to fix what we need to learn more of. But just to give you my experience now, I'm on like a phase of, now I have clients, now I have buyers, now I can't find houses. But it's like, it's another step that I have to move past. I have to learn how to find houses now. And with the market and how crazy competitive it is, you know, it's like I gotta figure out how to get around that. So there's many things that I discouraged. New topic of real estate. You know, when I first started with I can't get a client for anything. You know, I'm using my database and doing what I need to do, but it's because I was doing, people thought I didn't know what I was doing. So now it's like, okay, we got all these people, now what are you gonna do with it?
Hey, John, can I jump in for one quick sec?
You can, Brian.
It's Lance.
Was it not Brian?
No, it was Lance.
Oh, who's talking to me? Lance. Holy
Thank you.
cow.
Lance,
Yes,
I'm
talk,
talking to you.
please.
So I don't know who that young lady was that was just speaking, but I just want to make a suggestion. 3 times during her conversation, she said the word can't.
Yep.
And I would suggest that she immediately eliminate the word can't. It's not can't, it's not yet. You don't can't find a property, you haven't yet found a property. You got to change the way you look at things for things you look at to change.
Lance, thank you for that.
Thank you, Lance.
Noticed that myself, and I appreciate you saying that. You're absolutely 100% correct. All right, E to P. You're having an E to P to conversation. And E to P means that we all have natural ceilings of achievement. Now, some of those, for some of us, this ceiling of achievement is pretty high. And for others, it's not as high. No big deal. However, we're going to hit ceilings of achievement, which is exactly what you just described. Now, E is what we do naturally, entrepreneurially, or easy. P is purposeful. Now, the key to breaking through these ceilings, and you're hitting a ceiling, okay? The key to breaking through these ceilings is to be purposeful. Now, one of the suggestions that I would give you in order to be more purposeful is master your listing presentation. Master your listing presentation so that you will have more confidence to lead generate for sellers. And then the second suggestion that I would give you is create a daily standard for how many seller conversations you're going to have. Create a standard for building a listing-based business. In other words, I'm not going to settle for anything less than. Now, if I told you you have to schedule a listing appointment in the next week, you have to. Your life or the life of someone you love depends on it. Creating urgency. You would get on the phone every day and you would circle prospect until you found somebody who's thinking about selling their home. You just would. You would absolutely do that. And then you would do it again the next day, and you would do it again the next day, and you would do it again the next day. Did you see my lead generate like a duck video? So if you were to lead generate for sellers like ducks, lead generate for food, it's on my Facebook page. Just go watch the video, or it's on YouTube. Watch the video. If you were to lead generate for sellers like ducks lead generate for food, you would go on a listing appointment every day. We all would. Now, the two things that I'm going to do to break through this ceiling, if I'm you, number one is I'm going to master my listing presentation. If you go to my YouTube page, you'll find my 14-point listing presentation, word for word, what to say when you sit down at the kitchen table. Master that conversation. Step by step, what to do from the point you schedule a listing appointment to you confirm the listing appointment, to you trial close before you go, to what the conversation sounds like when you're standing in the front door, to touring step by step. I mean, trust me, there's not a step that I don't leave off, that's including take my shoes off. It's in my 14-point listing presentation because they're going to notice that. It's the small things that matter. You know the book, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff? Right. Throw that book away. It's a complete lie. You absolutely should sweat the small stuff. It's the small stuff that adds up to the big stuff. I'll prove it. Have you ever been bitten by an elephant? No. No. Have you been bitten by a mosquito? Yes. See, it's small stuff that'll get you.
I'm sorry, this is totally off topic. I just had a conversation with my daughter yesterday. And we're driving through the parking lot and she's like, "Oh, I want to live here." And I'm like, "Well, you were just playing outside in white socks on the dirt." And I'm like, "Well, it's just a sock, but you're getting it dirty. And if I didn't have to buy more socks, we could possibly be in the parking lot right now." Because I keep having to buy socks after sock. And I'm like, it's small.
You're sweating the small stuff. I get it.
Right,
but I love that story.
Yeah, I'm like, it's small, but it's just a sock, it's cloth, but
How old is your daughter?
13.
What was her, oh my gosh, your eyes were rolling, I know
Yes.
this.
She was looking out the window, she's like, I'm just gonna keep looking at these
She's like, oh
houses.
my gosh, look at my mom, she goes
Yeah.
again. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, the eyes were absolutely rolling on that one. Don't let that stop you, because even when they roll their eyes, they're still getting the message. I promise you,
Or
right?
like how I feel now, like.
I promise you.
I should have listened to my mom more, because
Yeah.
everything she said,
Yeah.
comes into play.
Lacey is 20 years old now, and she's just getting out of the eye rolling stage. And it's interesting because she'll come to me and she'll ask me questions. And I'm like, wow, you were paying attention. I didn't think you were, but you were.
There's hope.
There's definitely hope. All right, let's see. It is 9:40. Wow, time to get to work. What's work? Work is 20 conversations, not 19, not 18, not 17 conversations. It's a standard. Stick to the standards. Hit your standards. They're non-negotiable standards. Be a duck. Quack until somebody gives you food. You're never going to stop quacking. Ducks don't have bad days. They don't stay home because it's too cold or too hot or they hurt their wing. They're going to go quack until somebody feeds them. Have 20 conversations every single day until somebody schedules an appointment with you. Make care calls, not sale calls. Always meet with gratitude. Thank you for taking my call. I appreciate you. Bring value to every single conversation. Focus on getting an appointment, getting a referral, adding somebody to your database, and building a relationship. Find somebody today that's thinking of selling their home. Doesn't matter if it's next week, a month from now, 6 months from now, or a year from now, because you're going to need listings a year from now. Meet with somebody today that is thinking of selling their home. Do that every day for the next 250 days, and you will have 250 opportunities in your pipeline. And then simply follow up forever until you get to a point where they're serious about selling their home or buying a home. You've created emotional proximity, which simply means that I'm going to hire the person who's closest to me. When you've created emotional proximity, people will never change their mind, but what they will do is make a new decision based on new information. And Jonathan, when you make a new decision based on new information and I follow up forever, that new decision is going to be to hire me. Hire me. There you go. All right. Make it a great day, everybody.
Hey, John.
Yes, talk to me.
Because I see the room now, I just want to do a shout out, cheers for peers for Millie sitting in the front row, keeping my seat warm. Day 2, she just signed up with KW yesterday. So kudos to you, Billy. I'm so proud of you. I'll call you later, but super, super proud. I feel so honored, honestly.
Yep, I agree. All right, gonna stop record. We're gonna go right into script and role play. Let's see.